Do not adjust your tracking. You are now listening to the VHSaturday podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of VHSaturday, the show where we discuss the strange and unusual, odd and obscure VHS tapes that we obtain through thrift, gift, and grift. My name is Henry.
And I'm Allison. And
this week, we are looking at a film adaptation of Danielle Steel's 25th book. Allison, what is her book/movie called?
Daddy.
It doesn't go how you think. But before we go into what it's actually about, we've got a few announcements.
Yes, we do. So, first of all, we have expanded our reach. We are on like every platform now. So, for those of you who have wanted to listen on Apple Podcasts, we're officially on there. Of course, as usual, we're on Spotify and YouTube, but as well, we are on Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Player FM. And if you don't hear your preferred podcast platform on the list, feel free to let us know. We're also on Twitter now, so you can tweet at us. It's at VHSaturday.
Speaking of podcasts, we were guests on one.
That's right. Me and Henry guest starred on our good friend
VCR
Graveyard's podcast.
We were discussing Halloween 2 versus Friday the 13th Part 6.
Yes.
Allison and I were team Friday the 13th because I love Jason. He's my boy.
Oh, yeah. It was so much fun. Those guys are awesome. We have plans to get them on our show as well.
That's in the works, yeah.
So, when you're finished listening to us talk about Daddy, you can head on over to VCR Graveyard and listen to us talk about some horror movies on there.
It's a good time. That episode is going to be live today as well. So if you're listening to this on Monday when this episode is up, that episode is also up. So definitely check it out.
Yes.
Lastly, before we get into Daddy, we have stickers available. We have merch available. The shop is in the works, but we are selling directly through DMs. So shoot us a DM on whatever platform, because like Allison said, we are now on Twitter. So that puts us on just about every social media platform out there.
Like where more could you want us, people?
Yeah, just let us know.
It's easy. Let us know.
It's easy to do. Cross-platforming is so easy these days. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Definitely not a big deal.
Mm-mm.
That said,
I know what an RSS feed is. What, you don't?
No, that said, Daddy. So here's the thing. I didn't know who the fuck Danielle Steel was, but apparently she's the 4th best-selling author of all fucking time.
Yeah, so Henry...
Did you know about who Danielle Steel was?
Well, I want to talk about why we picked this tape in the first place.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously, the salacious name. I mean, what more do you need? But we went to a local Goodwill, and they just so happened to have quite an impressive VHS selection. So we're thumbing through these tapes, and we noticed that there is an entire collection of Danielle Steel film adaptations.
Like, if they all have a similar aesthetic, they had obviously the same graphic designer all these VHS slipcovers.
They're pastel colors.
They have the same kind of like font. They all have this like, what is this fucking supposed to be? Is it supposed to be like thread? Is that fucking
ribbons? I assume.
Ribbon.
Yeah.
Poorly rendered ribbon, probably drawn in Amiga, because this film is from 1991.
Yeah, but you know what? There was one other thing that all of these tapes had in common, and was that they belonged to a woman named Marge Allen from Knoll, Missouri. Her name was on basically every single fucking tape at this Goodwill.
Oh yeah,
it was kind of
there's
insane.
A ton of them. We know her name is on. It's on one of those like mailing label things you could go order.
Yeah.
Here's a funny story about those. As a kid, I had a fuck ton of those with my name and address on it.
Why?
Because
were you sending out mail?
No. So here's the thing. I love getting mail. I still love getting mail. Please send us mail also. Send us tapes.
Fan submissions episode 2. Come on, people. Let's go.
But so anecdote, right? So the they would come, the ads for them would just come with a newspaper and like in the junk mail and shit. Do you remember getting these in like your parents' junk?
No.
Yeah, it would be on this like little newspaper-esque kind of thing, right? That would be with like coupons and be like, order your roll of blah blah. And it's just an order form. But they would also say samples. We got free samples.
Ooh, who doesn't love a free sample?
And so I filled it out with my name and address.
Yeah.
I asked for some samples. And as your kid, you're not sending out a lot of mail. So fuck it. They send me fucking 10. I'm good for a while still, right? I'm a kid.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not moving out of this house for a long time either. I'm set.
Especially with this economy.
It was the 90s.
Damn.
It was, you know.
You were also like a child.
I had
like a literal
ambitions
child.
then. I had ambitions in the 90s, but I'm an adult. The economy won't be in the shitter. Damn, was I wrong. Anyway.
So pumped to buy a house, bro.
So they don't send me like 10. They send me like a fucking spool.
What?
Yeah, they send you a whole fucking spool as your fucking free sample. Anyways,
so this fucking movie.
I was expecting a soap opera.
I was expecting some like softcore porn.
I was expecting a softcore porn soap opera. I was expecting it to be shot like a soap opera, and I was expecting it to have like, you know, being shot in a multi-camera form where they have like a 3-camera section like in their set, and everything's just lit the same way for every single shot because they just have one take on it, you know, like looking like All My Children. Speaking of, some of these actors were in some soap operas. That's where some of them got.
The cast of this movie is nuts. Like, okay, who all is in this movie? First of all, let's talk about the titular daddy, fucking Patrick Duffy, who also played a stepdaddy in Step by Step.
Is that why it was called that? I haven't seen that show since the 90s. I didn't even realize there was
Oh, yeah. You see, it's... I'm not going to reference another show that I watch, but one of my favorite internet series, Some Jerk with a Camera, he has an entire episode where he covers Step by Step, and specifically the episode where they go to Disney. And it's really funny because he touches on the fact that it was on TGIF and people watched it every week, but they don't remember anything about it. It is like a televised blue pill, he calls it, that you're like, what are even their names? Do you even remember their characters' names?
I remember a stoner dude who lived in the van. And I think he played Super Nintendo in one episode. And that's what I remember. I think this came out at the peak of that show too. Like that show was like taking off.
Oh yeah,
and that's when this movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he was top dog.
Top billing right there.
Yeah.
Not only that, this is at the very beginning of the skyrocketing career of Matthew Lawrence, who plays Sam, the youngest son.
Yes, Matthew fucking Lawrence. I was like watching this movie and I was like, I recognize that kid. Who is that? And I was like, oh shit, it's the boyfriend from The Hot Chick. And it's like, wow, of all of his roles, that's the one you remember the most. And then we were like, well, no, he was also on that show with like his 2 brothers, right? We're like, yeah, Joey and
No, I said it was 3 brothers. And you're like, was there a 3rd brother? I was like, yeah, his name was fuck, I forget. But like
Matthew, Joey,
and Andrew. Andrew's the youngest one.
But
See, I forgot the
Andrew.
Yeah, he's the youngest one. I forgot because like Joey Lawrence was on other shit, and then Matthew Lawrence was in a bunch of things.
Was in everything.
Yeah, so like of course I remember them. Maybe Andrew Lawrence went on to do other stuff and I just forgot or like, didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
But like, I could not remember him for the life of me last night. We also got Ben Affleck though.
Yeah.
This is like at the beginning of Ben Affleck's career.
I don't even think they mentioned
He's not
him
mentioned on the back. That's how early.
He wasn't even like famous.
Ben Affleck plays Ben, the oldest brother. We have Jenny Lewis, who you will recognize from The Wizard, playing as Melissa, the 15-year-old daughter. Kate Mulgrew, she was in Star Trek Voyager as Captain Janeway. And then Linda fucking Carter.
Linda fucking Carter.
Wonder Woman herself.
Mm-hmm. She looks great. She looks great in this.
For this episode, we subjected ourselves to the audiobook.
Oh, yeah. Let's go into the extensive, unnecessary research we did on this.
The audiobook was like 3 hours long. This movie's about half of that.
Yeah. So, of course, Danielle Steel is the #4 best-selling author of all time. Of all time. So people are very familiar with her work, specifically horny housewives. But I digress.
There's a lot of horny housewives. That's how come she's the 4th best-selling.
And that's why these books got turned into made-for-TV movies.
28 of them.
28. Daddy had the funniest name out of all of them.
Right. That's why we grabbed it. So we just coincidentally picked the diamond in the rough. We randomly chose it because it has the funniest name. We're like, this is perfect.
Compared to the rest of them, people regard this as one of the best ones.
Just looking at the cast alone in my research, significantly better. Like, I can't believe we got like so many now A-listers, you know?
But the thing is like, look, in 1991, I was not a horny housewife. So I am personally not familiar with Danielle Steel's books at all.
Well, I think she's still cranking them out, yeah? Because she's got 170 fucking 8 of them.
Yeah, she cranks these out. Well, look, so I was like, well, I'm going to be watching a movie based on a Danielle Steel book. I might as well, see what's up with the book. And I have had an Audible subscription for a really long time. I forgot to mention we're on Audible and Amazon Music as well now. Now that that's jogged my memory. And let me tell you folks, that book was a fucking slog. It was so hard to get through.
So fucking boring.
It was so boring. Like, how can so many things happen, yet so little happen all at the same time?
Nothing has real consequences. There's no real conflict of anything. Things just happen. And there's like no resolution of any real sort.
Yeah.
But like it's only 4 chapters, but it's
the longest 4 chapters of my fucking life.
There's a significant amount of differences, but here's a few things that we found that were similar between all of Danielle Steel's books, it seems, because apparently she's known for being formulaic.
Yes.
But how formulaic? You might think, I understand wanting to be formulaic if you're a writer, you're cranking out the same kind of pap for your same target demographic all the fucking time, right? It makes sense. If I like vanilla, I'm going to like French vanilla and I'm going to like vanilla bean. That's how it is, right?
Yeah, there's so many varieties of vanilla.
Like when I go to an ice cream shop, I see vanilla, I'm happy with that. I don't want chocolate.
Fuck chocolate. It's too rich.
But people like chocolate, and if people like chocolate, they like dark chocolate, they like milk chocolate. There's all forms of this chocolate. So all of Danielle Steel's books are just like that. They are so formulaic. That's what you want.
I would say Danielle Steel is very vanilla. If you were to assign a flavor to Danielle Steel's books, vanilla is the perfect way to describe it.
You know exactly what you're getting when you see it. Right? That's how come they sell so fucking well. I found that she had names recycled and the movies changed some facts, right? Such as where it takes place. Because all of Danielle Steel's books take place in 3, 4 cities?
Yeah, so I actually took it upon myself to create a Danielle Steel story generator. And it kind of follows the tropes, and it's a fill in the blank with the different things that Danielle Steel kind of uses to spice up her vanilla story.
You can play along with this.
Okay, so a rich woman named Blank who works for Blank in Blank faces a crisis where Blank that threatens her relationship with a Blank. I didn't personally read Danielle Steel's stories, but we did find this really helpful article online where somebody summed up every single one of her books in 140 characters or less.
Well, that's when I noticed the names are the fucking same.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I started noticing they all take place in New York, San Francisco, LA, and Paris. That is all they take place in. Every once in a while,
they'll go to England, North Carolina.
Danielle, once in a while, I think probably every 5 books, Danielle Steel wants to spice it up. So she pulls out her map She pulls out a map, closes her eyes, and then goes, here it is.
Yeah. If you watch Danielle Steel movies or read her books, you'll be like, oh, let me guess. Like, Danielle Steel views the world through, like, there's New York, there's LA,
San Francisco, and Paris.
Yeah.
Which, those are the places she lived in and grew up.
Yeah.
She has a house in San Francisco. She grew up in, like, New York and Paris as she settled down in, like, LA.
Everything that she writes about is almost exactly what she's been through in her life.
It is so self-insertion,
Yes.
which might be why so many, like, horny housewives love it.
Oh, yeah. People relate to this shit like crazy. I was looking up the comments and I was like, oh, people are going to shit on this movie, you know? But all the comments were like, oh, my God, I felt like I was watching my own life.
It's like, man, you're a piece of shit if this is your fucking life. Speaking of pieces of shit, the jobs.
Right. Okay. Who works for an ad agency? Herself as a writer. Someone else as a writer. Her husband as a trad wife, or an actress.
Like I said, a lot of self-insertion.
Danielle Steel has worked in an ad agency. She's obviously a writer.
She probably took a stab at acting, I would imagine. I thought I heard that she actually like made a CD, like music, like an audio CD. Speaking of Danielle Steel's musical career, she likes to talk a lot about crises. Every Danielle Steel story centers around some kind of fucking crisis. Such crises include the Holocaust, a car accident, a terminal disease, war, terrorism, accidental pregnancy, and, surprisingly not in this story, incest. There's another Danielle Steel book that's like called Daddy's Girls.
Yeah.
And that also is not about incest.
Right.
But some of her books are apparently about incest. And it's like, oh, you sly woman.
Is it a bait and switch? Like, she's like, oh yeah, my incest book sold so good, I'm just gonna like bait them.
That is the most clever thing she has ever done. Like,
is she capable of such complex thought?
That is the only clever thing she has ever written, is by not making Daddy and Daddy's Girls about incest.
Because I posted this fucking on my Instagram story, and that's the impression that people got.
That's what we thought.
Yeah.
That's what we thought when we got it. Instead, we get, a fairly wholesome story.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But what's not wholesome is the relationship.
The types of relationships that we see in these stories. So this woman will have a crisis that threatens her relationship with a ex-con, drug addict, rapist, unrealistically good guy she somehow doesn't care for, 17-year-old, or a single dad.
Those first three actually describe three of Danielle Steele's ex-husbands.
Of
she
which
is five times married.
Five husbands.
And like a bajillion kids.
Yeah.
These books will recycle the same plot points, names, settings.
Daddy follows a lot of these tropes to the T, but I have to commend it for how much it actually subverted our expectations.
So instead of us explaining what Daddy is really about, because it's not about incest, we've been dodging
know what
this.
You're thinking.
We've been dodging this already for like 25 minutes now almost. Instead of us explaining the beginning of Daddy, let's have Danielle Steel do it.
Yeah, as she does in the beginning of this tape.
Hello, I'm Danielle Steel. Thank you for being with us this evening. Daddy is a story that could happen to any man. Oliver Watson thinks he's happily married until his marriage comes apart and he's left to be father, mother, and provider.
So the movie starts with some pretty good cinematography. It shocked both of us. That opening shot of the mailbox in the snowy house.
That looks really familiar for some reason.
It's very familiar. It is a filmed house in something. It is not the Home Alone house.
We thought it was the Home Alone house, but it's not.
The movie takes place in Chicago and not New York. The book takes place in New York.
Yeah, subverting our expectations that I guarantee whoever made this movie was like trying to adapt it into a screenplay and was like,
we already did New York. We already did New York. We already did LA. What are we doing here?
Like, can we please just go somewhere else? Can we please just film in Toronto and call it Chicago? Please.
I was expecting a soap opera. I was expecting everything to be blown out with the lighting, things be done in like maybe 2 takes at the most, right? 3 camera format where we just get the same angles for 90 fucking minutes. But no, we were both impressed right from the get-go.
Yeah, it looks good. And then you've got this all-star cast and you have no choice but to pay attention. And not to mention, the book was so shitty that we were expecting the movie to be worse. I mean, how often do you watch a film adaptation and you're like, the book was better?
Let alone a film adaptation made for TV.
Right. You're like, this is going to be shit. This is going to be even worse than the book. But no.
I can't believe when we picked this up, we didn't notice that's Linda Carter and Patrick Duffy, like, you know, caressing each other on the front cover.
Yeah.
They look like your generic romance novel.
Oh, yeah. It looks so generic.
It looks like so generic. I did not even realize that's Patrick Duffy holding Wonder Woman.
Yeah, right. What the fuck? You know what I really love about this cover, though? That, like, when you turn it to the side, they just took the same image.
God.
They took the same image that they used on the front and literally just, like, squished it to fit.
They did not scale it.
No.
They just squished it on its horizontal axis. Like I said, this had to have been designed on, like, a fucking Amiga.
Yeah, we just saw the cover and we were like, Daddy, sold, whatever. But, like, we didn't even bother looking at the fucking back where it's like, oh, yeah, starring Patrick Duffy, Linda Carter, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's not what pulled us in.
No.
Patrick Duffy's acting doesn't pull us in, though. He talks like this the whole movie.
He's a whisperer.
Everything. So dramatic whispered.
You know what's really ironic? Patrick Duffy used to do commercials for hearing aids.
What? I can't hear you.
I'm Patrick Duffy. His acting got totally canned in this.
Ben Affleck became Batman.
Yeah, we've got Batman and Wonder Woman.
And we got Patrick Duffy talking like he's fucking Batman.
And Daredevil.
And Daredevil.
Because Ben Affleck was also Daredevil.
He's Marvel and DC.
Yeah, headstrong, he'll take you on.
Oh. Well, we also, like I said earlier, we got fucking Kate Mulgrew in this.
Yeah.
Playing the mom. What's the mom's fucking name again?
Sarah.
Fuck Sarah.
Fuck Sarah. Sarah is a bitch.
All right, let's go over the cast one more time. We're going to explain the roles of it because we didn't explain the roles.
This is a family, right? This is a daddy based around a family. So let's go through the family tree. Who's who?
Patrick Duffy, the daddy, the titular daddy, right? Then we got Kate Mulgrew. She's what's her fucking name again? Sarah, the mom. You're going to hate Sarah by the end of this. Then we have Jenny Lewis, the daughter, who's 15. Her name is Melissa. Then we got Ben Affleck, the 18-year-old named Ben. Very easy to remember. I didn't fuck that one up. Matthew Lawrence plays Sam, the 9-year-old. Mm-hmm. Then we have Linda Carter, who plays the love interest.
The movie star, Charlotte.
There's only one in this movie. In the book, there was like fucking 5.
Oh, like number of women that he sees?
So.
Okay, but Henry, why is this daddy seeing other women when there's a mom in the picture?
Well, because the mom in the movie gets accepted to the University of Michigan. And in the book, she got accepted to Harvard.
Harvard is the only college that Danielle Steel has ever heard of.
It's the only one she ever writes about.
It's Harvard this, Harvard that. It's like, bitch, pick another school.
Oh, wait, no. She also writes about UCLA. Harvard and UCLA.
Cambridge. I think I heard tell of Cambridge once.
So the mom gets accepted to Harvard / University of Michigan. And in the book, she's known for a while. I don't know how long it was in the movie. It was still wintry. It was like a few days before Christmas. And she drops it day after Christmas. I got accepted to college. And first he's kind of like, okay, like he wants to be supportive. And she is like, oh, it's in Michigan. And he's like, oh, that's 200 fucking miles away. You start in 3 weeks. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. How are we going to just up and move? And she's like, well, you aren't.
Yeah, like, I'm moving. You have to stay here with our 3 kids.
And in the book, this whole, like, as this progressed, he tries to convince her not to go. You can tell he knows she's really breaking up with him.
Yeah.
But she's not.
She's kind of beating around the bush.
She says she's not. She just needs time away. She needs to do this. We get a sex scene in the movie. We don't see a whole lot, but we get a sex scene that kind of pretty early. She says she just wants to go to college, and it's a good move for her. She says she's going to visit on the weekends. She's going to visit on the holidays.
Say, like, the way that you're painting this is so less awful than it really was. Like, the book starts out from Sarah's perspective. And so we're going into this thinking, oh, we're supposed to be empathizing with Sarah.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be so mad.
Sarah is a fucking cunt because the whole time she's talking about, I've been married for 20 years. I only ever have to take care of my husband and my kids. What about me? When am I going to get what I want? And she just decides she's going to go back to school and she's going to find herself.
Because in the book, we find out they got pregnant very early. In the book, you know, she wasn't doing good in school, right? Mm-hmm. She was kind of like working a shitty job, just kind of coasting fucking by. And she was kind of proud of herself for that for some fucking dumb reason. And
how dare you be proud of yourself?
She was proud of herself for the wrong reason. Not, you know, I'm making it. It's, yeah, it's whatever. Like, it's in later when they go to France, she brags. Her and her French boyfriend.
Oh, God.
Were proud of that they were getting by on a shoestring, remember?
We haven't even gotten to the divorce yet.
We mentioned the French boyfriend earlier, so it's not a spoiler. We skipped that in the movie. We don't get this backstory of, like, the fact that she was basically starving and, like, she got published twice. She thought of herself as this amazing author.
Yeah, but ever since she had kids, she's got writer's block. She can't think of anything.
Which is fucking stupid because, like, I've been published in 2 different magazines. So, like, whoa, I don't, like, fancy myself an amazing writer, but no.
Sarah is a fucking hack fraud. She thinks she's a writer, but she's not.
It sounds like she wasn't making it as a writer.
Yeah, and so she took that resentment out on her entire fucking family.
Oliver was supporting her even when they were just dating because he had his shit together. Mm-hmm. He had a job. He was going to school full time and he was kicking ass at it. And then once he was done with school, he got a good job in his field.
Where does he work?
Oh, he's in advertising.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? An advertisement agency?
Sorry, I gotta roll my dice and see where it lands and choose from the board.
Yeah.
I rolled a 3. What is that? Advertising agent. Got it.
All right, sounds good.
He's got his shit together, so he supports her. Then they get pregnant, and then he doesn't want a divorce because he's a traditionalist.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. He's like, no, I'm gonna raise this. You're gonna raise this kid. Mm-hmm. And so they take some 2 years to get married. She was resistant to even get married.
Yeah,
that's how come they were together for 20 years, but they were married for 18.
Sarah can't be tamed unless
you're a 25-year-old French man, French student. So. Where were we in the fucking movie?
Okay, so yeah, Sarah gets fucking... But Sarah, like, you read this book and you're like, Sarah's a fucking bitch. What a bitch. And then you watch the movie and they take the bitch, like, they crank it up to 11. She doesn't even, like, try to justify it or anything. She's in the movie, she's just straight up like, no, I'm going to school and I'm leaving you.
No, she doesn't say she's leaving him yet. She says she's leaving him behind.
But she's not, like, sad.
She's not. Yeah, she doesn't seem sad. She doesn't say she's breaking up with him yet. And, like, he's like, don't leave me. And she's like, I'm not leaving you, which is a fucking lie.
Every kind of justification that he tries to come up with, he's like, well, you know, you can commute or we can move somewhere halfway or blah, blah, blah. Like, everything he throws out, she's just like, no.
She's like, no, I don't want to spend time with you. I want to have time alone. Mm-hmm. And it's like, motherfucker, you're like 40 something years old. One of your kids is 18.
Just hang in there, girl. Like, what? Your daughter's like 15. Yeah. And your son is like 9.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, give it like 3 years. Both of your oldest kids will be gone. And then your youngest kid will probably be too interested in his friends to give a shit about you anyway.
He's going to be taking care of himself. Like, it's like, you know, like we talk about, like, stopped kind of hanging out with my parents once I was able to like.
Oh yeah,
once I become independent enough, I'm like, I just do my own thing.
Every kid does that.
Yeah,
it's like you learn how to use the microwave, and you're like, why do I even have parents?
It's like it'd be one thing if it was her just leaving Oliver. I'd be like, oh yeah, well I can see that happening, and her like dragging out the breakup because she doesn't know how to handle it because she's a fucking pussy, like fucking girl, fucking spine, Captain
Pussy
Janeway,
ass bitch,
fucking Captain Janeway. God damn it. Since I refer to her though, I can't remember. I know her name's Sarah, but like I'm just gonna call her Captain Janeway.
What a forgettable name.
Yeah,
we just lost all of our listeners named Sarah.
I have many friends named Sarah. One of my good friends is named Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
She follows us.
Aw. Hi, Sarah.
So
your name is awesome. It's great. We love it.
All right.
Okay, so she leaves and she moves to Michigan.
She says she's going to come back on weekends, visit the kids. Nope. Time goes by. Nope. And she calls and comes up with an excuse after excuse. At first, it was, when I don't have space in my hotel because I'm still looking for my place. Then, I have a place, but I don't want to. And
well, eventually, Sarah decides to tell Patrick Duffy.
Patrick Duffy's mom is sick with Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And his dad is, talking to him about how he's losing the woman he loves. And Patrick Duffy is understanding how that feels because he feels the same thing, but for a different reason. Mm-hmm. In the book, one of the few ways that Danielle Steel knows how to write a death scene is a car crash.
Yes.
The pedestrian gets hit by a car.
Okay, this person died. How'd they die? Car crash.
Car crash.
Car crash.
That makes sense. There's 2 car crash deaths in the book. One of them gets cut out in
this 4-chapter book.
There's 2 deaths by car crashes. And not like, I'm in a car, I'm crashing, but you're walking and a car plows through the pedestrians.
Yeah. So the mom, the Alzheimer's grandma, she hits someone with a car and that person doesn't die. They're hurt. But that's what gets her put in the home. And then she's walking outside and then a car hits her and she dies. But in the movie, it's her brain just stops working
from Alzheimer's,
and she basically just goes into a coma and they have to pull the plug and it's super fucking sad.
It's pretty sad. You just hear Patrick Duffy going, I love you, Mom. I didn't mean for that to be funny. This is what it is.
Fucking.
So then we get to the funeral, right?
Yeah. And what better time to tell your husband?
Right after they say their words and they lower the casket down.
They say a prayer and lower this woman's body into the dirt.
And they're walking to where I'm assuming they're going to have the wake. Right? Mm-hmm. And fucking Captain Janeway comes running up to Patrick Duffy and is like, Oliver, that's his name in the movie. I don't know if you can call him Patrick Duffy, but his name is Oliver.
Patrick Duffy, come on.
Patrick. And he's like, what is it, Captain Janeway? He's like,
what? Let me turn up my hearing aid. I can't hear you.
I want a divorce. She's just drops it on his mom's funeral. They just they just put the body down. They're still walking away from the fucking hole.
The blood is still warm, people. And Sarah comes out and just says, I want a divorce.
The shovels haven't even come out to put the dirt on her.
Dude.
And she's just like, I want a divorce.
She's a monster.
I was like, what the fuck kind of human being does that?
Yeah, she's not even that bad in the book. In that scene, but in the movie, they're just like, we want you to hate this bitch.
Oh, we didn't bring up Ben has been ditching class.
Yeah, ever since his mom left, his academic
career has gone down.
His grades aren't so good anymore.
He was accepted to many colleges, but this is the last term.
Princeton.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot about Princeton.
I don't remember that one. So he has all these colleges lined up, but he got his girlfriend Bobby pregnant.
His 17-year-old girlfriend, for shame.
And Bobby, the girlfriend, is from a lower class broken home.
Yeah.
You can tell Danielle Steel does not look fondly upon the poors.
Yeah, the normal people who don't live in
Paris and mansions and
in New York City right next to Central Park.
what a bunch of schlubs.
She looks down on the common folk for sure.
She's the 4th best-selling author of all fucking time.
Yeah.
So
now it's like, all right, well, as Cher infamously asked us, do you believe in life after love? Obviously, Sarah believes in life after love because while she's at her prestigious university finding herself, she also happens to find a 25-year-old French exchange student that she falls in love with and starts dating. Oh, except we don't see that in the movie.
yeah, we don't see it in the movie.
That was just in the book. They cut that out in the movie.
But when he visited her at school, she wanted just the kids to visit. She didn't expect him to come.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she's like, I think we should see other people.
Yeah, because, I mean, he's going to find out.
She already was seeing other people.
Mm-hmm.
The French boyfriend dies in the book from getting hit by a car.
A car crash, of course. How
So I
else
guess
do people
that's
die?
3 people getting hit by a car, actually.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Like, all the kids get hit by cars, too. Like, buckle your safety belt.
Oh my god.
So the kids all but they all live, but the boyfriend dies.
Yeah, so she's free to see other people again. Good for her. So fucking Patrick Duffy, you know, he's having a hard time. He still loves Sarah, but you know what? He's got to move on. And so in the book, he sees quite a few women, but in the movie, they just cut straight to Charlotte, who is this, you know, model actress.
She's an actress on a well-known TV show.
Yeah, and she's releasing a new perfume. And
Wild.
Yeah, and his ad agency is in charge of putting out the commercials. So that's how they meet and talk.
And then he gets a new job over in LA.
Where she lives.
Where she lives. And then they start, you know, talking, and she asks him out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's very
Up front.
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we forgot to mention that there's this whole subplot in the movie that wasn't in the book about Ben, the oldest son, his baby, and this custody battle that he gets in with his girlfriend, Bobby.
Because in the book, Bobby and him got along, and then the dad offered money, and Bobby accepted money to take the baby because Ben wouldn't take it. Ben was too proud. You know,
Dude, Ben is a fucking boss. Like, what an incredible boyfriend. 18 years old. He's been accepted to Princeton. He gets this girl pregnant, and he literally says, fuck college. Word for word, that is a quote.
Two jobs.
Fuck college. And he goes and he gets jobs, and he's like, I'm not moving to LA to live in a mansion with you, Dad. Sorry, I've got a family here now.
Yeah, the dad gets a promotion to LA temporarily. Mm-hmm. And so the ad agency is actually putting him up in a mansion with a guest house, and he offers Ben to come stay there, and Ben says no. He wants to be a man.
Mm-hmm. But as are most women in this story, for some reason, Bobby's a trifling. You know, she does not want Ben to have anything to do with this baby, and she's just a fucking cunt for no reason. And so they get in this custody battle.
She runs off with the baby at some point.
Just leaves
Ben. And because they're not married, he can't take the baby with him to LA, even when if he wanted to, because they would count as kidnapping.
Right.
So he calls Patrick Duffy after his date with Wonder Woman. After they're sleeping, he calls, and his dad's like, just get to the airport. I will take care of all your travel arrangements. Come home. That's all you need to do. He's like, we will figure this out. We have a lawyer. They're rich, by the way. Everyone's, like I said, everyone's rich.
Oh, they're so rich, dude.
He's like, oh, we'll take care of it. And Ben's like, okay. He finally is convinced. Like, there's nothing left for him now in Chicago now that Bobby has run off with the child. Mm-hmm. So he's gonna come home with the dad, and they're gonna figure out. But in the book, Bobby becomes part of the family. She becomes an accepted part of the family.
Much more wholesome.
A little bit more wholesome.
It was like they substituted some drama from the book for like different drama in the movie.
Yeah. I think once they cut out all the stupid bullshit Danielle Steel came up with, they're like, man, our movie's only 60 minutes. We gotta add something else going here now. Let's add another plot with this custody battle.
Yeah.
Speaking of the date between Patrick Duffy and Wonder Woman, it's around Christmas time. This is about 1 year late, almost exactly 1 year later, right?
After the divorce.
Yeah. So Patrick Duffy gives her a Christmas present. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, I don't have anything for you. He's like, that's okay. This is a gift. This is an amazing evening
Just
with you.
being with you is a gift.
The next day.
Well, wait. He gets her a fucking gold Cartier bracelet. And they've only known each other for like 4 days at this point.
48 hours.
Yeah, like literally like a couple days.
Yeah, 2 days. I mean, they had known each other before. Because
just through work.
Meeting that one time.
And he gets her a fucking gold bracelet. And she's like, I don't have anything for you. But the next morning,
she's like, I have a gift for you now. And he's like, okay. And she pulls out her great grandfather, or maybe your grandfather's, I don't remember.
Her grandfather's pocket watch.
And he's like, I can't accept this. And she's like, no, I want you to have it. Mm-hmm. But and this plays out in the book, too. We're like, all right, that's fine. In the fucking movie.
In the book, it's much more like fantastical because you're imagining this like super pristine, excellent craftsmanship, like amazing pocket watch. But like in the movie, it's just this rusty old piece of shit. And it's like she just found in the junk drawer.
Exactly.
Like, oh shit! I gotta
get this guy something. Fuck. He's not gonna wake up any fucking minute now. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
it's like here it is, Grandpa's fucking watch. Here, let me blow off the fucking dust, wind up, making sure it still fucking works.
You know what? There's also another like weird difference between the movie and the book in this scene. So like she cooks him this extravagant breakfast, and in like the book they talk about all of the stuff they have for breakfast. One of which is she makes fresh squeezed orange juice for him. But for whatever reason, like in the movie, she's pouring the orange juice and he's like, ooh, is this fresh squeezed? And she's like, well, it's from the bottle, I'm not that type of girl or whatever. Like she makes some comment about how it's not fresh squeezed orange juice because, she's too humble for it. It's like, I don't know why they chose to make that difference in the movie, like to make her seem more relatable or down to earth or something. All of the other changes have kind of like made sense up till that point. But I was like, well, wait a fucking second. Like she's a famous rich movie star who lives in LA. Like
Patrick Duffy's got a fucking maid. Why isn't Wonder Woman?
Yeah, he has. Oh yeah, we didn't even mention that. Their family has a fucking maid named Agnes.
She's barely noticeable. She's just there. She's literally there in the back.
But Sarah uses her as an argument when like she's trying to leave and Patrick Duffy is like, well, what about the kids? And she's like, yeah, they got Agnes. And he's like, well, do I have Agnes? Like, what the fuck? What's going on with that?
Ben and Dad are much more conflicted in this when it comes to the baby situations.
Yeah.
The dad was much more understanding in the book.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Ben didn't fight as much in the book.
No, they totally like
they talked it. They talked it out in the book. They argue and get physical in the movie.
Patrick Duffy slaps Ben Affleck across his young, beautiful face.
I want to make a gif of that.
It's just like the cop from Dallas, like slapping Batman. You could probably write something about that. There's an idea for you, Danielle Steel. Another difference is there's one sex scene in the book and there's one sex scene in the movie. In the book, it's Patrick Duffy and Linda Carter at her pool, like in the pool or something. And they go into all this like weird detail about their passionate lovemaking. But then like in the movie, when Sarah first says she wants to leave, like...
He kind of forced himself on her.
Yeah, dude. He like grabs her and just starts kissing her and then...
Yeah, she gives, and she she starts kissing him back. He like grabs her, because she was like think she said she was going to go sleep on the couch or something like that.
I gotta say, I mean, that's some daddy behavior right there.
But that wasn't in the book. So we get that sex scene. Then we also get Ben and Bobby sex scene in the movie.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of weird because you're like, well, wait, isn't she like technically 17 in the story?
Is she 17?
Yeah.
Or is she 18?
She's 17 in the book. I know that.
We don't really get a sex scene. It's
just kind of some making out.
It's making out and heavy petting. And I think we got a fade to black. So you put two and two together.
Yeah.
So Patrick Duffy introduces his kids to Wonder Woman. And a weird thing that we noticed is in the book, despite her being a famous actress on a popular TV show, the kids don't recognize her. Right? They never mention in the book, like, oh, you're so-and-so. Like, they're like, okay, yeah, my dad's dating Wonder Woman. All right, that's fine. But in the movie, he's like, kids, I would like to introduce you. Holy fucking shit! You're fucking Wonder Woman! Yeah. Yeah. They know who she is. And they kind of like spaz out, like, holy fuck, my dad's dating this actress? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, it's a little bit of a difference there. Yeah, and, I don't know. I think it's more realistic. You think like the writer's like, how come these kids don't fucking notice that she's like a famous actress? Like, really? Some intern who's like, all right, Billy, it's your first day on the job. Yeah, read this 4-chapter book. You gotta adapt it to a 90-minute movie starring a guy from Step by Step. We just want you to pick out all the loopholes and try and close them. Can you do that? Sure thing, boss. Just read this book. Tell us what we gotta cut and what we gotta fluff. Well, you know, I gotta say, I think she would be a lot more relatable if she didn't fresh squeeze the orange juice. I just think that's a creative decision we could make that would really drive home more of her character. Run it! Yeah, sounds good. Let's see. Oh, okay. Everything is going really well, but keep in mind, this is a Danielle Steel book, so we need some more conflict. We need more crisis. So what's the crisis this time? Wonder Woman gets an offer to be a starring role in a Broadway play. That's been her dream. Which was planted earlier in the movie by her mentioning, even though she loves acting, she always wanted to be in a play. She always wanted to be on Broadway. That was kind of more or less has been her goal. Her dream. She's been in bigger things, but that's not what the plan was. That's not what it's all about. That's not what life is all about. She gets the leading role in the play. They're going to write her out of her show in 2 weeks. They said it's okay for you to leave the show. You can leave your contract. It's fine. You just got to come back like next season, I think. Yeah. Is what they said. Yep. And so Patrick Duffy is faced with yet another scenario of the woman in his life leaving to pursue a dream with only 2 weeks. His dad gets remarried. Oh, yeah. His dad remarried within that year. Married somebody from like the old folks home, like a caretaker. Yeah. But, and Patrick Duffy took a little bit to like accept it, but then he's like, no, I could tell they do genuinely care about each other, and it's nice for my dad to have somebody. Yeah. And that's when he started like, coping with it's time for him to move on too, you know. But he's faced with this again. Speaking of moving on, he's faced with this again. I mean, he acts differently this time. He's learned. And it's inverted. Mm-hmm. Because Wonder Woman's like, I will commute. I will because I'm rich TV actress, Broadway actress. I can fly from LA to Chicago every other day. And he's like, 12 hours there, 12 hours back. What, you have fucking lunch together every day? Like, that's it. That's all you fucking got. Yeah, so he's like, you know what? I don't want to go through this again. It's over. If you want it to be over, just say it's over. Like, we're done. And in the book, she writes, like, a note to like him. A letter. And she went to his house to, like, deliver it. I don't know if she was going to leave it, like, on his, like, porch or something. I don't even know. She wasn't I wasn't expecting you to be here. But in this one, because Ben won the custody battle. Yes, he did. He wins the custody battle of the child. And after seeing the judge and like having to make a case for himself, and the judge is like, but you're a man. Do you really know how to take care of a baby? And he was like, yeah, it was me. I was taking care of the baby, not the wife. And she's like, not the girl. But you're a guy, though. She's like, well, what did that entail? He's like, feeding him, changing him, keeping him clean.
Like shit you do to take care of a baby.
Like he's like a month old, like a couple months old. He's not doing a whole lot yet.
Yeah.
He's not moving. Mm-hmm. And then, just making sure he feels loved and cared for.
And safe.
And
warm. He says.
And warm.
He says safe and warm.
But so he wins the custody battle. Right? So now they're having the christening.
Yeah. Which doesn't happen in the book.
Oh, before we get to that, though, we have Ben talking to Wonder Woman on the set of her show. That's when she reveals him, but she talks to him about how she didn't really want to go because they've changed the play. They gave her a rewrite on the script, and she's not totally feeling it. And even though she's always wanted to be on Broadway, this isn't it. Like, this isn't how she wants to do it.
This ain't it, Chief.
I know there's going to be other opportunities for me to be on Broadway. Obviously, I'm on Broadway at this point in my career. I kind of just fell into acting, is what she says. I mean, I might think this was like Linda Carter, just like off the cuff. Like, they just were filming this. I didn't want to be here, but, I just kind of fell into the role. So Linda Carter tells him that I don't really want to go. He invites her to the christening, and he pulls up in his jacket and he pulls up this envelope. That's a reoccurring trend in this movie. Every guy has like envelopes in their breast pocket of their jacket.
Yeah.
Every time they need to bring something out, they just like open their jacket and they pull out whatever
it's like
it is.
A Mary Poppins purse, just like
Fucking thinking Felix the cat, just like a bag of
what
everything.
are you buying?
What are you selling? I'm Patrick Duffy. What are you buying? What are you selling?
Patrick Duffy selling mobile homes. That's another commercial that he did.
That was a nice mobile home.
Yeah.
That didn't look like a mobile home on the
inside.
inside.
It's like a bougie mobile home.
It's like to take a picture and on the inside. It's like, this is a mobile home?
Shit.
I'm paying for an apartment?
I could have so much more.
So he invites her to the christening, and we get cut to the church. The christening is happening. The church is fucking empty.
They're the only ones
They're the only ones there, which that's kind of how it is. And you don't necessarily have an audience, but usually you have like family and friends. But I guess they have no family and friends. And they're in LA. Exactly. I was saying, I have family and friends in LA. So they go there, and after it's done, we see this whole entire like process.
And then when it's over, everyone leaves.
Everyone's leaving.
Except one person left in the crowd. Who could it be?
I didn't expect to see you here.
Wonder Woman came to the christening.
And like the whole time you're shooting this, we're seeing close with the family, and we see some shots of the pew, but like we see there's no one in the pews until like the very end of it. We have like a 180, and we see that one person has been sitting in the pews this whole time, and it's Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. Patrick Duffy goes, I didn't expect to see you here. And she's like, well, I'm sorry. You didn't want me to be here. Ben invited me. He's like, no, I literally was just mean I didn't expect to see you here. He didn't mean it like, I didn't want you to be here. I was like, whoa, hey, Wonder Woman's here. I didn't expect that. I didn't know she was invited. It's nice to see you. And they talk, but we don't see and hear the conversation, but we see them like taking pictures with the pastor.
They've decided to get back together.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, she's like, you know what? I want family. I want love. I want all that. Like, I already have a career. Why do I need to shoot for more, And then we see like all of them as a family holding each other with the newly christened baby, and them stepping outside the church. Roll credits. And it's good they didn't need to go over that, because like she had just explained it all to Ben, like 5 minutes prior, the scene prior to this, versus the book. I don't know where the fuck Ben is at that point. Like, I'm pretty sure he was still living in fucking New York.
Ben didn't move back.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This part of the story gets real fuzzy for me.
Like, the book deviated a significant amount. Ben didn't move with him to LA.
No.
He stayed there because Bobby wasn't a piece of shit and didn't run away.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm just going to care for my family. And, he came and visited. Do they even have the baby in the book?
I think so. Dude, I don't know. This fucking story, so basically, it was just a roller coaster of fucking emotions.
It's a roller coaster of emotions, but it's a roller coaster where nothing fucking happens still. Like, there's things that happen, but there's no resolution. There's no consequence.
There's a book series called A Series of Unfortunate Events. But this fucking story is a series of unfortunate events. That's all it is. Like, when we were listening to the audiobook, I think maybe after the first or second chapter, I was like, this story is a fucking downer. It's just one bad thing. Like, someone dies, someone gets hurt, someone breaks someone's heart. Fucking, like, it's insane. It's one thing after another.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's that for the majority of the story. And then things are really good for a little while. And then things get bad for a little while. And then they end on a good note. And it's just like, it's not fun. You're just like, God, how much more sad shit can possibly happen? The movie cuts down on a lot of bullshit, which I really appreciated. But it also added its own unique bullshit that was kind of unnecessary.
I didn't really feel a lot of the movie was unnecessary. There's a lot of unnecessary in the book. Like I said, I called it like 5 girlfriends. I called it before we watched the movie.
We were getting their names mixed up after a while because we were like, wait, who's that again? Who was that?
There's so many of them and they're all just generic.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure the intern that had he just had a Sharpie and was just crossing shit out in the fucking book. But I remember because I was like, watching the movie, they're going to narrow this down to like 5 fucking women because of this 5 women down to like 1 because movie's 90 minutes and we don't got fucking time for this.
Honestly, I'm glad.
It'd be a montage.
Yeah, it got really confusing in the book. And so I'm glad that they decided to just develop his and Wonder Woman's relationship more than deviating for no reason. Like,
one of the women was like an artsy girl that made him do coke. There was like
she wore leather pants. And then there was like, his coworker he had kind of a fling with, and then
it wasn't really a fling. Like, he liked her, but she was a mistress for some guy.
She was already in an affair with somebody.
And she was like, it works for me. They kept going back to that, bringing how it works for me. I'm happy. She's a coworker we see 2 times while he's in the office.
Yes.
Like, talking to him about work. The most optimal way they would have been able to put that into this 90-minute movie would be like a montage of him like meeting a girl, going out to dinner, talking, and him just kind of looking kind of like bored. That way you get the idea he's not enjoying this. That's the only way they would be able to shove all the relationships he was in a year's span time.
So I'm of the opinion that, look, the movie that we watched is based on source material. The source material is not good. The book is very bad. The story sucks. It's all over the place.
Bestseller.
It's a bestseller because you people have no standards.
That's absolutely fucking true. You're saying it's a joke. I'm doubling down. And that's how come shit like Transformers has like 11 fucking movies. We're on 9 fucking Fast and the Furious films and 170 fucking 8 Danielle Steel novels.
Yup.
Danielle Steel is the equivalent of the Fast and the Furious, except I would say the Fast and the Furious is better because they don't recycle plots. Even though it's all about cars, they stopped racing after the 3rd one out of like 9. So that makes 2/3 of the fucking movies not about racing cars. They're just about cars versus Danielle Steel. literally just recycles every fucking there's more places in the Fast and Furious. They've been in the Mexican desert. They've been in San Francisco, New York, Tokyo, fucking
Daniel. Okay, so the Fast and the Furious movies are stories that take place around cars, whereas the Danielle Steel stories are just about car accidents and how they make people's relationships hard.
I think this book has more car accidents than the first Fast and the Furious.
Probably.
There's not a lot of crashing in that one.
Danielle Steel is Fast and the Furious for horny housewives.
Two housewives. Two horny.
Too fast. Too furious. So, I think I have the perfect way to sum up this experience. And this is a quote from David Zerwick from the Baltimore Sun, in which he wrote an article about Daddy on October 23rd, 1991. He ends this article by saying, "Formulaic? Sure. Nobody ever accused Steel of being above formulas, but there are formulas that reflect some of the more important moments of passage in our lives. Their pull is powerful enough even to overcome the acting of Patrick Duffy." End quote. That's exactly how I feel about it.
I think I can sum up this movie very simply. I think I can sum up this movie by saying it's 93 minutes of Patrick Duffy talking like this, sounding very sad and confused at the same time.
I mean, shit. You like that kind of acting, then Daddy is the movie for you.
You know what else is the movie for them? Friday the 13th Part 6.
Oh, shit.
And
that's the movie for us. And you can hear us defend that position on the newest episode of VCR Graveyard.
So be sure to check them out.
Yes, give that a listen.
But I think that does wrap it up for Daddy.
Yeah, be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. We are there. And since we're now on Apple Podcasts, if you like the show, you want to help us out, give us a 5-star review. We'll read your review on the show.
Don't forget that we still have stickers available. So if you would like to help support the show, send us a DM to buy a sticker or to send us content or suggest content.
Yes, submissions for fan submissions number 2 are open. Feel free to send us a tape. You got something you want us to review? Might show up on our next fan submission episode.
Either finding something weird, if it's something you've made as an artist.
We would love to see it. So send us a DM or an email, vhsaturdaypodcast@gmail.com. Thank you all so much for listening. We will be back next week.
And until then,
be kind, rewind.